It is Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by MLB 9 Innings. On the last day of his vacation is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. So how'd you do on the 100 passes from Matthew Stafford on Tuesday? What was your catch percentage?
100%, actually. I didn't drop any, which is nice. He gave me some advice because I was jumping for some balls and kind of like bodying some balls because it was starting to hurt my hands. But he doesn't want that. He want me to get the hands out there and stick it like old Cooper does. So I started doing that a little more, and I did well, man. I'm proud of myself. I was nervous.
We don't body the ball. Don't body the ball because particularly when you're wearing pads, those things are just going to pop up in the air. They're going to get picked off, and you know who gets credited for the interception? It ain't the receiver.
Yeah.
It's the quarterback, even though he threw it right in between the 1 and the 7 on you.
Well, like I said, now that I know to get my hands out there, I think I'm ready for the NFL.
Yeah, I imagine you're going to be exactly where you are most Sundays, sitting on your ass, watching football, which is the way it should be. So today's episode, sponsored by MLB 9 Innings. It has a wide variety of game modes from league mode. Users play through the entire season to live play-by-play. They have over 2,000 player cards to collect and use in your dream roster. They have the most up-to-date rosters, logos, ballparks, unis, the whole gamut. And they're introducing new historic players to MLB 9 Innings roster this year. Hall of Famers Larry Walker, Walter Johnson, Hank Aaron, Michael Jack Schmidt, Trevor Hoffman. So I want you to download and play MLB 9 Innings 23 today with the link in the description. And a quick reminder to get in your MLB 9 Innings question of the week. By Thursday night, we're going to pick a winner to use on Friday's show. We'll announce your name. You'll be uber famous, and you'll get some Baseball Today swag. So please do that. Thank you. A bunch of day baseball. In fact, I think there's only one night game on Wednesday. So we've got a lot more theory questions today, although we do want to salute Grayson Rodriguez, the number 1 pitcher out there on the prospect list. Finally getting called up by the Baltimore Orioles, even after his GM, Mike Elias, said during spring training, we wanted to see more out of him. Well, here we are, less than a week into the season. I guess they saw enough in the minors. Wink, wink.
Yeah, well, somebody, got hurt, so they kind of forced the hand there. And, I think he had a start in the minor leagues, didn't go well. None of that matters. This guy's a stud. He's going to be a stud. I'm excited to watch him pitch.
Yeah, and against DeGrom, of all things. So welcome to the show, kid. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll talk about it on Thursday's show. But let's start with the cap I am wearing, the St. Louis Cardinals. They have lost the first 2 games of a set against the Atlanta Braves. Last night, real interesting play in the 7th inning, 2 outs and a ball hit to Ronald Acuna, and Tyler O'Neill gets thrown out at the dish, and you're thinking, God, with 2 outs and a guy who's got at least decent speed, how did that happen? Well, his manager was kind of wondering the same exact thing.
That's not our style of play as far as the effort rounding the bag there. It's unacceptable. Yeah.
He was pretty blunt about it. He didn't think I gave the best effort. I'm out here every day grinding my ass off. Giving it my all and trying to stay on the field for 160 games out here. So, like I said, I just got to get a better jump next time, and I guess just get around the base a little quicker, and be in there next time.
So that was Ollie Marmol, the manager. Tyler O'Neill, who we always forget is Canadian until he opens his mouth. How big a deal is this? Should Marmol have not really said anything publicly and just handled it behind closed doors?
In my opinion, yes. I'm not too close to the situation. So, like, in my experience, if a manager does something like that, like really call a guy out, it's for a reason. Like, they think about stuff like that because, a clubhouse, you have to be tight-knit. And there are times where, there's some nuance there. But to me, it seems like he made it a point to do that for a specific reason. Now, again, I don't know that for sure. When I watched the play, it seemed to me like he knew he was just going to be gunned out at home plate and kind of was just like, fuck, what do I do? Because if you're a base runner, and by the way, he's not just like a decent sprinter. Like, this guy was like 97 percentile in sprint speed when he's healthy. Now he's been dealing with some injuries, so that could also be part of this. But when I saw him come around the base, he looked at the throw, saw he was going to be gunned down. And I feel like as a runner, you're kind of like, what are you supposed to do? Back in the day, you could truck the catcher, but now you have to go in with your feet, and they don't really leave you a lane to slide into. So you end up just sliding into a guy with a bunch of gear. It's just not a great play for the runner. So,
but that wasn't Marmol's complaint here.
Yeah,
Marmol's complaint was it looked like he was going 75%. Whether he was or wasn't, that's what it sounded like from the manager to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the replays that we have of him running, they don't look like he was running full go. Now, they did say that the bases were getting slick. It just had started to rain. So like you're a little bit more cautious because those bases can trip you up a little bit if they are wet. So there's a lot of factors going into it. I don't know. I to answer your question, I don't think it's the right way to handle this situation. I'd rather, especially as a player, I'd rather be talked to behind closed doors. Clearly, Tyler was caught off guard by that. He did not like hearing that Marmol said that. So whether or not it was 100%, him running, and if there was a reason for it, I'm not really sure yet. I guess we'll find out more. But yeah, I just don't think that was the right way to handle it.
So a few things here. Tyler O'Neill's had it. It's been a rough go for him over the last year plus. And I think he's doing the math a little bit like we did on yesterday's show, where we said there's way too many guys here for not enough spots. And I think he says, boy, if I lose even 10 games, that could be my career here in St. Louis. So he wants to make sure that he is out. You heard him say that. I want to make sure I'm out there for 160 games. Like, that's really important to me, to be here every day. And if that means I got to throttle it back a little bit, if there's something bothering me or if the bases are a little slick or anything else, I am better helping this team if I'm here every day than if I'm charging as hard as I can. Now, not every fan is going to accept that. And certainly it doesn't play great in the manager's office, obviously. In addition, this is not the first time that Oli Marmol in his short managerial career has done this. Last year with Harrison Bader, who's a guy who always seems to go balls to the wall, but he didn't in a particular game. He was yanked from the game. He was benched, and then he came back and played great. And Marmol was like, he handled it beautifully. There's something going on here between the Cardinals and Tyler O'Neill, and I'm not saying it because it's something I know. I'm saying it because it's something I'm feeling, and maybe I'm off base here. But didn't you feel that way?
Yeah, that's what I got as well. Like I said, normally a manager will just talk to you behind closed doors. And another scenario, Chris, is sometimes they think, hey, I've been told this. Ron Gardenhire did this to me one time. He said, hey, I'm gonna blow you up in front of everybody. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you can handle it, right? And he wanted to make a point to blow me up in front of everybody because he wanted it to resonate throughout the clubhouse. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think what you said is right. I think there's a lot of people there, guys that aren't getting playing time, that maybe want to get playing time. Tyler's trying to hold on to that. It's interesting, man. I think we may get more out of this in the days to come. We may not. I don't know. I kind of put some feelers out there, but I got nothing back.
Out of curiosity, Tyler O'Neill was not in this afternoon's starting lineup.
I guarantee they talked after that. I guarantee they had some closed door discussions.
Yep. One of the great performances we saw on Tuesday was from the reigning NL Cy Young Award winner, Sandy Alcantara. Unbelievable. Handed your Twins their first loss, and just by the skin of the Marlins' teeth, 1-0, complete game shutout, 100 pitches, unbelievable, allowed just 3 measly singles along the way. Are we now definitively looking at the best starting pitcher in baseball?
I think so, because for a couple different reasons here. Number one, if you just wanted to create a player, you'd go 6'6", 200 pounds, whippy arm. Like, that's what you would do. Okay. That's my nightmare as a hitter. But then you start to think about, okay, what are the results we want? Well, we want innings pitched. We want a guy to, and especially in this day and age where guys don't go deep into ball games, if you have a horse that can save your bullpen, that's a plus. So if you look at what Sandy's done, in his first full seasons, you got 2019, 32 starts, 197 innings, 2021, 33 starts, 205 innings. And obviously last year he had 228 and 32 starts. Like, this guy takes the ball, he gives you the innings, and he's dominant. I mean, last night he was filthy. It looked like he wasn't even laboring whatsoever. slider working, change at work, and then just blow 98 by you. I mean, if you're going to lose your first game as the Twins, you kind of just have to tip your cap to this one. I do think he's the best pitcher in baseball. I think he's probably the most coveted pitcher in baseball. If you asked front offices, GMs, managers, etc., like this is the dude you want on the hill.
Yeah. And I should be able to enjoy this. And I'm doing everything I can to say, man, I love it when Sandy pitches. And then there's also a little bit of me that is pissed off because there's no way he should be grinding to a 1-0 win because this team sucks at hitting the baseball. And it pisses me off that he's going to be on a team that will maybe win 75 or 76 games this year. And we won't be able to see how filthy he is in October. He has now become he has supplanted Trout and Ohtani as the next guy I want to see in October. And I know I've got no shot of seeing him there this year. None. And it's a shame. Shame on the Marlins organization for not building at least a halfway decent offense. I know you made the trade to get Luis Ariz. That's a good move. I'll tip my cap to that one, even though it cost you a really good starting pitcher. But, man, the rest of it is driving me apeshit because this guy is top notch. He's unbelievable to watch.
I knew you were going to say something about the run support. you and the Marlins, man.
But it's true.
That's the feud that keeps on going. Hey, one thing I forgot to mention, though, see, Rosie, not only does he have the physical attributes, the results that you want. Oh, yeah, he's making nothing compared to what he should be making. This year, 9.3, he avoided arbitration. Then he's got 3 years. Oh, excuse me, that's not even right. 6.3 avoided arbitration. Next year, 9.3 avoided arbitration. Then they have 3 free agent years at 17, 17, and 21. This guy's a $40 million pitcher. So,
you know what? Does it say who his agency is?
It's CAA.
What?
Yeah. They signed it in maybe before 2022, but still, I mean, tough. Oops. He's everything you want in a pitcher. So, Sandy, we love you.
He is so good. He is so good. And by the way, what did you say, 6'6", 200? There's no way he's 200 pounds. He's got to be way more than that. That dude is jacked.
Yeah, he's lean, though. I mean, that's what it says on Baseball Reference. I'd give him an extra 10 on there, but he's lean.
At least.
Post-game interviews are great, too. Like, everything about this guy is just top-notch.
I love him. We're going to get him on the Rose rotation this year with Miguel Rojas at some point.
You need to get, speaking of the pitcher that they gave up to get Ariz, you need to get Pablo Lopez on there.
I agree.
Everybody in Minnesota just speaks so glowingly of this guy.
Yeah, I mean, Miggy said the same thing. Offline discussion. You and I have to have a little offline discussion about your old team and their communication skills.
Oh, okay. I can hook you up, man.
Yeah, please do. Man.
What's up, Dustin?
By the way, you don't have to call me.
I called names. I did.
Did I hear the birds tweeting already?
Oh, yeah. The sun's coming up now. It's nice out here, man. I don't want to leave. I'm kind of upset, but you got to go, man.
Yeah. Hey, today's episode of Baseball Today is sponsored by SeatGeek. If you don't know what it is, they're a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. Over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek. I had no idea it was that many. That includes sports, concerts, festivals, so much more. They always want to make sure that you're getting a great deal. So when you're on the app, you want to look for the dots colored green. Yeah. Green means good. Red means bad. Repeat. Green means good. Red means bad. Every ticket on top of that is backed by their buyer guarantee. And SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. So that's pretty darn good, okay? If you have a change in your schedule or you're like, oh, we can't make it, little Johnny's got a recital or something like that, you're all good. You can swap it out. So we've got the hookup. Use the code today when you download the SeatGeek app. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. That is $20 off your first purchase with the promo code today. So click the link in the description to download the app today. Get it going. All right. Only one-day game on Tuesday, but it was highly explosive and highly entertaining between the Diamondbacks and the Padres. First inning, Manny Machado thought he was using his only timeout. Ron Culpa said, no, you didn't put the hand up in time. Machado thought there were 8 seconds left. Culpa said there were less. So he called strike 3 on him. Machado gave him a few choice words. He got tossed. So did the skipper, Bob Melvin. What'd you think of the way this went down?
As soon as he took off the mask, I was like, oh, it's Ron Culpa. Okay. Now I kind of understand. This is the exact thing that the commissioner of baseball was talking about with these rules. They're not set in stone. He wanted to give the umpires a little bit of discretion to like, hey, just make the game flow. That's what we're trying to do here. Manny Machado clearly had a timeout. It was 3-2, 8 seconds. He puts his hand up. Give him the freaking timeout. No one's there to see Manny Machado strike out on the pitch clock. Nobody is. That's not the purpose of it. The fans don't pay for that. Stop making it about you. And like that's unfortunately, I've had run-ins with Ron. A lot of people have had run-ins with Ron. He will never admit that he's wrong, and he'll just essentially call it by the book. I understand that. Like MLB official came out and said he did the right thing. No, he didn't, dude. That is not the point of the pitch clock. So I don't like the way it was handled. I thought Manny did exactly what he was supposed to do, and Ron just wanted to make it about him. These are the situations we're trying to avoid. Like if I'm Rob Manfred or the rules committee, I would be talking to Ron, be like, Ron, this can't happen because we want our superstars in the game. We don't want to see people struck out by this. That's not the freaking point. So I hated it.
This is the way I play it out. Would Torey Lovello have complained if Manny Machado had been granted time in that situation?
Nope.
I don't think it was so egregious. I think the clock might have been shifting from 8 to 7, like as he was putting his hand up. But I couldn't tell. I wouldn't have sat there at home as I was watching and said, man, did Manny get his hand up in time? You know, it just wouldn't have been that big a deal. The other aspect of this is a little bit on Machado. I know that there are times when you really need to let the umpires know where you stand with stuff. First inning of a game, I don't know, man. You don't want to play a whole game without Manny Machado if you can help it. And he's got to know better. Doesn't he have to know better or no?
But he wasn't like showing him up. What he talked to him. I don't know what he said. We'll have to get Jimmy on the lip reading. But
right,
if you're showing the guy up, throwing your hands all over the place, throwing your equipment, like I understand that. But if you're just talking to him, and even if you say something like, "Hey, man, what the fuck are you doing?" Like that doesn't warrant you getting thrown out. And I know you're not allowed to argue the pitch clock. I get that. But again, it's not the point of all these rules, dude.
You're right. But once the rule gets called and you could be pissed off, I'm with Manny Machado on that. I'm just curious. And once again, I've never been in this situation. I've never been in the heat of battle when a guy's throwing 95, with movement. Like I understand all of that. I'm just curious. Like he could have said, Ron, you fucking suck. And I've been told by multiple umpires, when you throw the word you in front of something, it changes it. It does, whether you like that argument or not.
Soft,
I've been told.
Soft.
Dude, I know, but that's how many times have you heard it from umpires? That's what they say.
Yeah, you don't want to make it personal.
Right. That you could say that call fucking sucked, but you can't say you fucking suck. That's where a lot of umpires will change it. And I don't know what Manny said, but whatever it was bad for baseball. And I wish that somebody would come out today, but they are so protective of their umpires, so protective of
it's insane.
All sports they are. Well, we can't say that. Come out and say they fucked up. This is not what was intended to be about. We have talked to Ron. We think he has a better understanding. Like that's the mature way to go about it. But of course they won't do it.
Ron will say, oh, well, you're putting all this on our plate, making us decide these things. I made my decision. That's that. Well, it's like, dude, have some feel. Like, what happened to feel? We just let go of it, apparently. I don't know, man. That pisses me off. And again, I don't mean to like harp on Ron Culpa, but like it didn't surprise me that he was the guy.
Not once did we say he's culpable.
Oh,
Thank
man.
You.
Nice.
Nice. Mets trying to avoid the sweep on Wednesday. They've been outscored 19-0 in the first 2 games up in Milwaukee. Scherzer got touched up, gave up back-to-back homers for just the second time in his career. How worried should you be about New York's lukewarm and banged up pitching staff so far?
I mean, I'd be decently worried about it because I'm looking at the roster resource page on Fangraphs right now, and that rotation looks a lot different than it should have looked. When we were talking about the roster going into the season, Max Scherzer still there, although, had a tough start. A lot of off-speed pitches right to the heart of the plate for Max. Cookie Carrasco had a big velo dip, which is never a good sign. Then obviously Quintana's out until July, I think, and Verlander hopefully will be back later this month. But right now, I mean, that rotation just doesn't look like it should. So I think in the near term you can be worried, and maybe long term you're going to be okay. That's kind of where my head's at with it. Definitely not the series start that you want in Milwaukee. Those boys have been banging the ball around. Those young dudes, man, the freshmen that we talked about doing it out there. So I'm worried. I don't know. That's my take on it. Short term worried, long term maybe not so much. You get JV back, get Scherzer kind of get going again. Maybe Cookie finds his velo. And we're okay.
Well, they have a lot of old pitchers in that rotation.
Yeah.
Old. And so you knew it could be a rickety ride at times with the injuries. I think once Verlander comes back, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. But once again, you're relying on a 40 and 38-year-old to lead the charge at the top of your rotation. It just means there's a smaller margin of error physically. Not that those guys have been perennially banged up, but Scherzer the last couple of years has dealt with some stuff here and there. Yeah, I thought that yesterday was probably just a bad day for him. Probably just a bad day.
Are you worried long term? I feel like we're both worried short term for them. You could lose some series with kind of what's going on, but long term, I'm not worried either.
No, the Quintana one bummed me out for them because I thought he was kind of a perfect guy to throw in there, that you're going to get 5 innings out of him every time he goes out. He's going to keep you in games, but now you're not going to have him until the back half of the year. What
happened with Quintana? Like something with his ribs?
Yeah, they had to do I thought they did a biopsy on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's like a lesion or something on his ribs.
Yeah, there was a lesion on it. Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, that sounded scary. But listen, you also have series where you get your balls kicked in, right? Where it just doesn't go right, and you run into a team that's smoking. We were looking at that Brewers lineup at the beginning of the year. We were like, okay, you got to do something here. Like, do something more than hit homers. Well, apparently they don't need to.
They just crushed the ball.
Everybody's doing it. That is a good hitter's park, isn't it?
It used to be. I don't know with the humidor how it's changed. I'd have to look up the value of it. It used to be, oh my gosh, you could just crush the ball there. I'm assuming it's still that way. But there have been parks that have switched. Arizona used to be a launching pad. Now I guess it's one of the more difficult parks to hit a home run in. So it looked like the ball was jumping. They went back to back off Scherzer, right?
Yeah.
All off him, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And you know what? Okay. I forgot. I wanted to talk about this. Cheesehead. Home run celebration for the Brewers. I like that one. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So you don't like the Toronto coat, the home run jacket?
I don't like the coat. Doesn't make any sense. I don't like the Viking helmet for the Cincinnati Reds out on it. The cheese, Milwaukee, makes sense to me.
So if in Cincinnati they poured chili over each other's heads.
If they had a Skyline chili freaking wig, I'd be all about it. It's topical. It makes sense. The Viking thing. Where did that come from? I need to know the story. Maybe there is a story.
The chili in Cincinnati is the most overrated thing there is.
I like it, dude. I like it.
I lived there for 3 years and I just couldn't handle it. I've got an iron stomach too, as people can see. It's there's not much this body turns down when it comes to food. Not been good. All right, last thing on the podcast and the YouTube side of things. Aroldis Chapman threw more than 103 yesterday. But the biggest hit he had was the one he delivered to Vic Carapazza. Little hocus pocus over there. Had to get out of the way when our guy Vinny Pasquantino fielded a ball, and then he decked Carapazza. Holy smokes. First of all, good for Vic. First, he called him safe from the ground. Then he was like, wait a second. He's actually out. if there's a guy in Major League history that you would not like to be run over by, it would be.
I mean, there's a lot of guys, a lot of big boys out there. Yeah, shout out Vic though. He kind of handled that pretty well.
Mhm.
I thought a couple like Mo Vaughn was one that came to
Good one.
mind for me. I'm thinking about guys like thick guys, low center of gravity. So my actual answer though is a guy I played with for a little bit, Carlos Quentin. He was
Hard hitting Quentin.
a bowling ball and just strong as can be. We have the video of him going up against Greinke. I think he ended up hurting Greinke in that one. You don't want to mess with that guy because he is just, like I said, low to the ground and strong as heck. So I would say him. He scares me. He's scared. He scares me.
This is probably the easiest answer I will ever have. Bo Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
I'm
also
sorry.
would not like to be run over by Bo Jackson.
With the speed that guy would get, like on a start, let's say if you had to be the catcher back in the old days and he got a start from second base, most amazing athlete I've ever seen. No question. Wasn't close.
There's this show called The Boys, right? And it's like superheroes gone wrong, kind of. And there's one guy, and he just like is like the world's fastest man. And like one of the first scenes in this show is him just running right through a person, like as he's in his supersonic speed, and the person just obliterates and goes up into the air and just like vaporized. So I'm thinking, like, would Corbin Carroll do that to you? You know, little Tim LaCastro or something like that. Maybe you wouldn't want to get run over by one of those guys. So fast.
I guess so. Just a thought.
Tyler O'Neill's not a bad one, especially if it's Ollie Marmol. Like if Ollie was in his way.
I like that. I think that's how we should settle things from now on between players and managers or guys that don't like each other. Maybe we could set up Manoah and Verdugo. Might have to.
I saw that. What's up with that?
I know that was interesting. Maybe we'll get into that on the amp side of things.
Okay.
Enjoy your day, baseball. Awesome. Yeah. We'll break it all down on Thursday's show and get you ready for a bunch of fresh new series as well. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. By the way, birthday shout-out to one of our other producers around here, Robbie Scirocco. Go get him, Robbie. You're the best. I am Chris Rose. We'll see you Thursday on Baseball Today.